Right now at noon, a rescue center in Joplin tries to deal with the continuing influx of dropped-off animals.
And we've got a cooler start to our week. We'll talk about that coming up.
Plus, the Kansas Technology Center at Pitt State gets a new name.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
The Golden Paw in Joplin has been experiencing an overwhelming influx of animals being dropped off. This is KOAM News at noon. I'm Elise Snowy. KOAM's Melissa Alexis has more about how it's affecting this local pet rescue.
Our episodes this week, our problems this week were horrible.
Mary Ann Schlau, the owner of Golden Paw, had 18 dogs dumped at their facility in the span of 2 days.
Woke up and we had 9 dogs crammed in crates and cages sitting in front of our door. Okay. This was 5 o'clock in the morning.
And the following day, the same thing happened again.
And there's 9 more out there, stuffed in crates, tied to our railings.
So overwhelming. All of us are exhausted with this issue and sitting down realizing how big this issue is.
She says Joplin Humane Society is no longer accepting dogs due to overcapacity, which overwhelms them with figuring out where to put the dogs.
Now, I have to give credit to the director of Joplin Animal Control, but he spent his whole day trying to find a place for 7 dogs.
She says one of the causes of dogs being dumped is the expense of caring for a pet.
People don't have the money. The economy is no good. You can't feed an animal. You can't house an animal. Landlords throw them out of their buildings even when they've been there.
She says to prevent the amount of dogs that are left without a home, people should do their part to spay and neuter their animals. Reporting in Joplin, Melissa Alexis, KOAM News.
Now, the Joplin Humane Society says they're looking for community support through more foster homes, pet owners reclaiming their dogs, and adoptions to make space to help more animals in need. Now let's check in with meteorologist Lindsay Gaffney for a look at the forecast.
Well, these temperatures today are pretty fantastic. Right now at noon, temperatures are about 70 degrees and we're only warming up to the mid 70s today. It's going to feel fantastic, low humidity and a light breeze out of the northeast. So it's a really great start to our week. Now, temperatures are looking good, but this breeze is going to keep us a little bit cooler. It's going to feel like October out there today. So we're right back around average, looking pretty good today. Winds are starting to shift though out of the south. So we are going to continue to warm up through the week. But first, temperatures getting up to about 76, 70, 75, 76 today, especially out in the central and eastern counties. But the farther out west you go, the warmer it will be, especially in the southwest. Temperatures getting up to the upper 70s, even low 80s. Now, looking good, no rain, and right now no clouds, but we're going to expect to see a few clouds starting to pop up in the early afternoon. Temperatures, though, dropping down to the upper 40s again tonight, like we saw last night. So a nice cool start to our Tuesday as well. We'll talk about that coming up.
All right, thanks, Lindsay. Well, a Kansas man is dead following an early morning crash in Labette County. The crash occurred around 3:40 a.m. on Saturday. A vehicle was traveling eastbound on 24,000 Road, and the driver of the vehicle, 30-year-old Spencer Alec Gatewood of Altamont, failed to negotiate a curve where the vehicle then entered a ditch and overturned into a pond. Gatewood died from the crash. Next of kin have been notified. An 8-year-old girl is dead and her father is recovering in the hospital after an ATV crash in North Springfield this weekend. The police department says the two crashed into a utility pole while riding a four-wheeler. The 8-year-old died at the hospital where her father continues to recover. Reagan D. Trolio talked with neighbors who live nearby.
I looked out the door and I saw about 4 or 5 cops sitting down there at the corner.
Kathy and Mike live right by where the ATV crash happened at the intersection of Jean Street and Missouri Avenue, not far from Kansas and Kearney.
I don't know a whole lot about it, but they started at 11 something and they didn't leave till after 1 o'clock this morning.
And they parked one of the squad cars down at that end
to block the road
at an angle. to block the road a little bit.
The Springfield Police Department says the father, 29-year-old Brian Hurd, was driving the four-wheeler just hours before the crash. 8-year-old Jabriah Hurd was riding on the back of the vehicle. You can see there's still pink markings on the ground where the crash happened.
They were just looking for something. They had their flashlight out, looking on the ground, and then another cop came up, and then 3 more cops came up, and one on a motorcycle.
And how many cop cars did you say you guys saw probably?
I saw at least 8, and then the motorcycle, and I don't know if there was any more or not. And then the ambulance came. So I thought, well, something happened.
If you're thinking of buying an ATV, the Missouri State Highway Patrol states you can drive them on residential streets or highways as long as you don't go over 30 miles per hour. Those under 18 years old must be wearing a helmet, and you must have an accurate license and registration. Neighbors say they've seen plenty of four-wheelers drive down their street in the past.
They drive pretty fast on
They're a
this
toy,
road
I mean.
anyways.
SPD confirms the 8-year-old who died was a Springfield Public Schools student, and SPS is currently in the process of notifying staff and students.
Well, 24 years after its construction was finished in 1997, the Kansas Technology Center at Pitt State now has a new name. On Saturday, the center was renamed to the Crossland Technology Center. Now, furthermore, the College of Technology that is housed within the center was renamed to the Crossland College of Technology. The name change honors the partnership between Pitt State and Crossland Construction, the company who built the center. At the time, the center was the biggest project that Crossland Construction tackled.
Well, it's lived here, right, since the beginning of this building and even before then. So this was a natural evolution of our partnership and how to support financially the university, but how we also support students out into careers that are really going to make a difference.
Well, since its construction, thousands of students have utilized the technology and resources provided by the Crossland Technology Center. Well, the November general election is quickly approaching, but in order to vote in this election, residents must be registered in the county they live. The deadlines for voters in Missouri and Oklahoma to register are this week. The deadline to register to vote in Missouri is Wednesday, October 9th, and the deadline to register to vote in Oklahoma is Friday, October 11th. For more information on where and how to register, you can visit our website at koamnewsnow.com/elections. And another note for some Oklahoma voters, the Ottawa County Election Board announces a change in polling locations. According to the election board's Facebook page, the location for voters in precinct 23 is changing from Quapaw City Hall to the Quapaw Fire Department meeting room. The board says the location change is due to storm damage at City Hall. Well, coming up, people in Fort Scott, Kansas bring their furry, fluffy, and feathered friends to church to be blessed. And later, we're making Senate bean soup in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen. Well, it was a good time to be a pet in Fort Scott, Kansas this past weekend as the First Presbyterian Church blessed community pets. KOAM's Mitch Adams has the story.
It's important to take a moment to realize that animals are a gift that we've been given to care for and to appreciate and to love, and they give so much back.
The First Presbyterian Church blessed pets and their owners in Fort Scott. Each dog, cat, ferret, or goose was given a St. Francis medallion and blessed by the church's pastor. This Sunday after church, the animals were the star of the show.
It's really about them today, and just taking a moment to remind the adults, the humans in their lives, that they're a blessing.
Pet blessings lead back over 800 years to St. Francis of Assisi, the patron saint of ecology and animals. Many of the pets blessed were rescued from dumping or abuse, and this event was a way to show love to the pets that were saved from rough conditions.
You know, I think all of us are sensitive to the mistreatment that we often see. You would be surprised at how many of us here today, some of the dogs that we have were just dumped.
The dumping Jane Campbell mentions has also affected local shelters and their ability to house animals. For those who may be considering adding a furry friend to your family, Campbell offers something to think about.
I mean, there's no law that says anybody has to have a pet. So if you don't think you're making a commitment basically for life, obviously You know, sometimes things just absolutely make it impossible, but basically for life, then you shouldn't have that animal.
All in all, the pet blessing is a way to pause and reflect on how fortunate these creatures and their humans really are. In Fort Scott, Mitch Adams, KOAM News.
Now, this is the first year that the church held a gathering like this under their current pastor, but they have plans to make this an annual tradition. Still to come on KOAM News at noon, Mr. Food.
All this week we're out of the kitchen enjoying the taste of our nation's capital. So stick around because you're in for an adventure.
And we start the week off cooler, but we do have a warming trend ahead. We'll talk about that right after the break. Well, we've had a warm weekend, temperatures in the lower 90s. Thankfully, we start the week off a little differently. Let's take a look outside, 7th and Range Line, clear skies, and a nice northeasterly breeze, only about 5-10 miles per hour, and a cooler day indeed. Temperatures only getting up to the mid 70s, so that's right about average for this time of year. Now, we've got these winds that were out of the north. They shifted early Sunday morning, so we had a cooler day on Sunday, mid 80s, but you can start to see the winds are shifting back out of the northeast to the east and eventually shifting back out of the south. So we're going to warm back up later on this weekend. But until then, temperatures are going to stay pretty cool. So yesterday we got up to the mid 80s. Our overnight lows dropped down to the upper 40s. So this is right about average as we move into Monday and Tuesday, with these temperatures getting up to the mid 70s, about 75 in Joplin, but the further southwest you go, the warmer you get. 77 in Miami, 78 in Veneta and Jay, 79 in Grove, so a little bit warmer out there, upper 70s, and then cooler out in the eastern counties, 73 in Nevada, 73 in Stockton, 74 in Monette. So this is about average. This is what we've been kind of waiting for the last week. We've been in this really warming trend with the ridge over our area. Unfortunately, we see that again later on this week, so it's not long lived, but it is nice while it lasts. Temperatures tonight dropping back down to the upper 40s, low 50s, so we're starting to warm slightly back up. Last night we got down to about 47. Tonight, likely about 48, 49, but again, the further southwest you go, the warmer you get. 50 in Veneta, 52 in Nawada, 55 in Sedan. Temperatures tomorrow are also going to be slightly warmer as well. Not too warm, but above average. 78 in Joplin. Again, further southwest you go, the warmer you get. 80 in Miami, 81 in Veneta, 80 in Nawada, but 76 in Stockton, Monette, not so bad. 75 in Lamar. Now, let's take a look into tomorrow. Temperatures dropping down Monday night, tonight, Tuesday night, 48. So we're seeing possible rain showers sparking up near Wichita, only making it as far east as about Independence before dissipating. We're pretty dry, low humidity, so we don't have a lot of moisture in the atmosphere to sustain any rain showers, but possibly far western counties may see a few sprinkles. This is going to be early Tuesday morning, but clearing out, mostly sunny skies by 4 p.m. on Tuesday, and then temperatures getting up to the mid to upper 70s again. Now, we see this warming trend because we've got another ridge forming over our area, another high pressure dome bringing in that warmer air, upper 80s by the weekend again, and maybe even reaching again 90 degrees or so by Saturday. Now, we also have interesting hurricane category 5 Hurricane Milton out in the Gulf making landfall. This is going to be Thursday morning, making landfall at about 7 a.m. as a category, either high category 3 or a low category 4. Very strong storm surge up to 12-15 feet. So pretty damaging storm as well, but we don't see anything related to that, and where temperatures are going to be pretty warm through the week. Sunday dropping back down to the mid 70s and then warming up again. Now we do have the potential for a cold front Wednesday night into Thursday.
All right, well, we could definitely use some rain if we could get it.
Definitely.
All right, thanks, Lindsay. Well, stick around. We're making Senate bean soup in the Mr. Food Test kitchen. We'll be right back. Well, today's Mr. Food recipe is inspired by a dish that's been served at the Senate dining room since the early 20th century. Howard is making Senate bean soup in the Mr. Food Test kitchen.
All this week we're out of the kitchen enjoying the sights, sounds, and most importantly, the taste of our nation's capital.
In addition to visiting lots of monuments, museums,
and landmarks, we'll be visiting one of the area's most notable food hangouts, and we'll be sharing the 16th president's favorite dessert. But today we're highlighting a recipe that's been served in the Senate dining room since the early 20th century. And if you've been to Washington, D.C. before, you know there can be lots of walking. So whenever you're in town, you might want to consider getting a Metro Pass, hopping on a double-decker bus, or even trying your skills on a Segway. Does this look fun or what? And after getting the hang of this and going all around town, I headed up to see if I could find a bowl of the same famous bean soup that they serve in the Senate dining room. And with each spoonful, it got better and better. Between the rich broth, the chunks of smoky ham, and all those tender as can be beans, I vote that this is a true winner. To get the recipe for our version of Senate bean soup, all you have to do is go online. And now I'm off to explore more of this great city. I'm Howard from the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found an all-American way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
You can find this recipe along with a lot more good food from the Mr. Food Test Kitchen online. Just go to our website, that's KOAMnewsnow.com. Now, here's a look at the 4-state market prices.
Well, we have a slight chance for a rain shower on Tuesday, mostly just for those far western counties, maybe making it into Independence. But outside of that, temperatures warm up this week to the mid to upper 80s, even reaching 90 degrees by Saturday. Now, we do have a cooler week in store for us next week.
All right, I can get on board with that. I'm tired of the 90-degree days in October.
In October.
Hopefully this might be the last one.
I'm hoping so. Fingers crossed. Absolutely. I want fall.
Yeah. Sounds like a plan. All right, thanks, Lindsay. Well, coming up tonight at 5, a unique program aims to recruit and train the next generation of doctors with the goal of encouraging more minority students to pursue medical careers. Program at Albert Einstein College of Medicine that has helped Black and Latino students begin careers in medicine. We'll take a look. Plus, Missouri Secretary of State details what happens to state ballots after they've been certified. And the Frontenac Methodist Church celebrates 75 years of serving chicken in noodle dinners. How incredible there. Oh, join us for those stories and more on KOAM News at 5. And that's the news for now. Thank you for joining us on KOAM News at noon. Have a great rest of your day.